West Baltimore, one of the worst ghettos in the United States. In April 2015, the death of Freddie Gray, a 25-year-old African American, following a brutal arrest, triggers the Baltimore riots. Within 3 weeks, 15 buildings and 145 cars were set on fire.
CVS, the national drugstore chain.
With this outbreak of violence, the black community in Baltimore wanted to send a message. Enough is enough. Institutional racism must end. Wesley West is a 28-year-old pastor. In his neighborhood, the unemployment rate reaches 50%, and selling drugs is often the only alternative to feed one's family.
Growing up in the West Baltimore community, I was one at one point in time. I lived my life. I sold drugs. I did things in the community to hurt the community.
All his life, he's endured police brutality and racial profiling.
I would say the stereotype men of my color. Again, before I would have engaged with that type of behavior that I spoke to you about previously, I was one who would go to school, come home, but still it seemed like, the police was, they were looking at me even to this day as a pastor. I could stand outside on the corner, they still look at me as if, hey, this is not what I belong doing.
Beyond the behavior of police officers, the whole judicial system got tougher. In the 1980s, as part of the war on drugs, the US Congress passed mandatory minimum laws in order to target low-level drug dealers and users. Because of racial profiling, they have led to the mass incarceration of ethnic minorities. While people of color make up about 30% of the United States population, they account for 60% of those imprisoned. For Pastor West, institutional racism has become a profitable industry.
It's become crazy. Why? Because now they're reaching quotas. They have to reach quotas because, again, wardens are here. If their jails are running dry, then their money is running short. And so with that being said, if the jail's running dry, the money is running short. And right now, like I said earlier here, that the black community have become a profit to the judicial system.
Between 1980 and 2014, the number of US prisoners has surged by more than 340%. 2.2 million people are currently incarcerated, making up for 1/4 of the world prison population. Because of mandatory minimum sentencing, many non-violent offenders have ended up behind bars for years, leaving their families in tough situations. Melissa's husband received a 6-year jail sentence for selling drugs. Since then, this mother of 2 has had to work 2 jobs in order to raise her kids.
Well, the financial situation is really bleak. I live paycheck to paycheck. I have to decide what bills are going to get paid, or if I'm going to take away from this bill and just pay part of it just to keep my services going and buy food, or, sometimes the kids need clothes.
Even with her husband's return next year, she's quite pessimistic about her family's future.
The thing is, they tell you these programs are here. They tell you these jobs hire ex-offenders. They give you all this hope, but it's not true. And it's when you go, you meet a dead end.
On the other side of town, Darrell Lewis is re-entering society, step by step. Judged under the mandatory minimum laws, he spent 20 years in prison for drug trafficking. Soon reaching 50, his dark past is now behind him.
I'm working now. I've never held a job in my life, a real job. And up until I came home this time. And I wouldn't trade this for nothing in the world, man.
30 years after being implemented for the first time, mandatory minimums haven't had any impact on stopping drug trafficking.
You get caught up in the cycle, man, the allure of the money, the lifestyle. The lifestyle is actually more addictive than the drug itself. You spending money and going on trips and buying things, and you just get caught up. You figure you get locked up, you do the time, come home. The whole time I'm locked up, I'm trying to figure out a different way to sell drugs, not realizing that there's no way to do that.
Barack Obama, the first president to ever visit a federal prison, has launched several initiatives to reform the criminal justice system. Since 2011, he has commuted and pardoned 844 prisoners, more than his 6 predecessors combined.
Over the last few years, a lot of people have become aware of the inequities in the criminal justice system. The fact that we spend over $80 billion a year in incarcerating people, oftentimes who've only been engaged in nonviolent drug offenses. That's one of the reasons why I'm commuting the sentences of 46 prisoners. These men and women were not hardened criminals, but the overwhelming majority had been sentenced to at least 20 years. 14 of them had been sentenced to life for nonviolent drug offenses. I've made clear to them that re-entering society is going to require responsibility on their part, and hard work, and smarter choices. But I believe that at its heart, America is a nation of second chances.
Last March, he offered that second chance to Ismael Rosa. 22 years ago, this famous salsa singer was sentenced to life under the mandatory minimums for possession of cocaine.
It's crazy that the judge couldn't do what he wanted to do. When I applied for the commutation, the judge sent a letter to the president and the presidential committee explaining how he had not wanted to give me a life sentence. He wanted to give me the low end.
Mandatory minimums deprive the judge of all of his powers and turn human beings into statistics. But rather than cursing the past, Ismael and his grandkids cherished a new life.
Because I believe that God gave me the opportunity to be a wise decision maker, and I bettered myself and I tried to help others, and I did the best that I could in the situation, and because of that, I'm here today with my grandson, with my granddaughter.
It's honestly, it's amazing having him here, having him, you know, just I wake up to him, I go to sleep to him now. You know, it's an amazing feeling to be able to have stories now to tell my friends, which I tell him all the time because he's hilarious. You know what I mean? Like it just feels good, you know, to have that aspect of my life filled, you know, complete. I feel whole now. I feel like I'm not missing anything anymore. So for me, it feels amazing.
Even though Ismael became a pastor in prison,
okay, be right there. I need to go outside for a spot check.
he has to stay home for 1 year and follow very strict rules.
It's okay.
Like today.
7, 4, 2, 4.
All right, you have a good day.
You too. Thank
Bye-bye.
you. God bless
You're
you.
welcome. Same to you.
So this is how it is. I have to do this once a week. They come by unannounced at any time, and it's cool. I'm supposed to be here, so I can cut the grass, take care of the surroundings, but I can't go any further than that without a pass. And it's all right. I can get used to that. It's not too long. They're just here to make sure that I can adjust properly to the world. It's mind-boggling after 22 years.
Fully aware of these difficulties, the president himself wrote him a letter.
This is a personal letter that he decided to write to me. And it says, Dear Ismael, I wanted to personally inform you that I am granting you your application for commutation. I believe in your ability to prove the doubters wrong and change your life for the better. So good luck and Godspeed. Sincerely, Barack Obama. I think that I am humbled by his words. I am humbled by my family. I'm humbled that I am at last free
Along with presidential pardons, Obama has pushed for strong measures in favor of re-entry, the end of solitary confinement, and better police training. In a deeply divided America, the criminal justice reform is one of the only issues Republicans and Democrats agree on. A glimpse of hope for millions of families and communities to get their lives back together.